What's up, homie?
What's up, dude?
So, you're on this side of the lens today.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a surreal moment.
Yeah.
It's a surreal moment. I'm not just talking off camera now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to take a moment to thank you anyways, because without you, this wouldn't be where it's at. You know, you're part of all this, so I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Just get that out the way before we start talking about you.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. What you got for me, dog?
I don't know, dude. So, me and you, we've known each other probably,
over a year now.
Yeah, a little over a year.
Yeah.
Met in a networking group.
Yeah.
Similar ideologies. You got a background in wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I got a background in boxing, MMA.
Yeah.
So we talk shit and done a lot of stuff together already in the past year. But I guess just, man, leading up to everything that we know, what prior do I don't know, or like what the fuck have we not talked about,
Well, let's see. So, I grew up in Bossier.
Yeah.
I was really into football. So, in my mindset, it was like, I guess most dudes that grow up here that play sports, they're like, well, I'm definitely going to go pro. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
So, like, everybody thinks, because, like, my brother, really and truly, like, my brother was the guy that was the football player.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, he, I looked up to him. Now, granted, he was playing at Airline whenever they were still running, they were running a single back system. It was a lot like Alabama. Their style offense, like run and gun.
Yeah.
Very rarely aired it out. So much so, dude, it was literally like mid, veer, over and over and over, dive, like whatever. So he played left guard, but like he's shorter than me. He's like 2 inches shorter than me, but 2 inches wider.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like really fast dude, really athletic dude, but like looking up to him, that was like, he was 7 years older than me, so that's all I wanted to do. So like a lot of my childhood at least, I was just obsessed with football. And then I started realizing like when I turned 17, and he can tell you, the guy that's I got on camera right now, Buddy Sanchez, he can tell you for sure, like once football was over for me though, the first thing I did was pick up a guitar. So then
That's interesting because we hadn't talked about we talked about it vaguely, but I didn't really know. But yeah.
So I've been playing guitar for 11 years. And that was another thing too, though, man. It was always kind of like I was into martial arts as a kid, but once I started playing football, like literally up until the point I was 10, I did Taekwondo, I was like 6 or 7, and then up to the point I was 10, and then I transitioned from that, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna play football now. You know what I mean? Once I got in middle school, and then once that was over with, I was like, okay, well, what the hell do I do? So I pick up a guitar. And my next door neighbor, the guy I grew up with, Cameron Merrill, he was, he still is. He's in Nashville right now. He still plays every day. So he plays on Broadway every day. He plays a lot of cover music, but he's also, that's really how he makes most of his money. But he's a recording artist as well. He has a lot of original music he's written. He's pretty damn good. You know what I mean? So me and him came up same time frame. He really started on the keys more than anything, like a year before that. Whenever I was like a senior in high school, and then once I graduated, he was a year older than me. He came back home from ULM. Well, he flunked out of ULM.
Yeah.
and we started going to Bipsy together, and we were just playing music together every day, and getting into all sorts of bullshit. You know what I mean? But so yeah, I started playing in a band with him. I stopped when I was like 19, 20, or I think it was the summer I turned 19. So it was about like a 2-year period there, and then like. Within 2 years of me playing, it was actually pretty remarkable. We were playing shows, like doing our shit. Which, granted, we were playing college towns, but still, you know what I mean. It was
still playing in front of a crowd. You're still performing, yeah.
Yeah. So that was something I realized I had a knack for. But then, what sucked was my uncle put it like this. So my uncle is a fire chief in Benton. His name's J.T. Wallace Jr. And my grandpa, his dad. This is my mom's dad. He was actually the fire chief here in Bossier for years.
Okay.
But with that being said, my uncle, he played guitar since he was a child. Like, that was his thing. And he ended up becoming a fireman. And his whole thing was like, he told me this, and it was like a word of wisdom from him to me whenever I was thinking about, like, not playing with the band anymore. He was like, once it becomes your job, it sucks the joy out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't want to believe that, because if you're playing music, it's like everything else. Like, you're playing football and that's your life, you want to go to the NFL. If you're playing music and that's your life,
you want to go all the way with it. Yeah,
right. You want to be a recording artist. But like, I did realize though, like over time, it's like what I want to do, and it's something I'll probably work on for the rest of my life. But I want to like the genres that I like. I want to record at least one album in each kind of genre that I like. Well, at least every genre I like to play. You know what I mean?
Just strictly guitar.
Well, no, not strictly guitar.
Are you talking about record it with someone singing on it? Full band.
Yeah,
okay,
full band.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I play guitar. I was influenced by my uncle. My entire family kind of played on my dad's side, but dude, I never put enough. I put enough time in it to get a girl's attention. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nothing more than that.
Well, that was the first song I learned, was for that reason too.
Yeah, right. You know, so like it was cool to pick around and shit when you have people over. We're hanging out with buddies because I had other buddies that we're all self-taught, and I learned some from them. They learned some from we all learned from each other, and then dude. I have a guitar still at the house. I got rid of I had nice Epiphones and all kind of shit. I had some nice stuff. I got rid of almost all of it, and I have one guitar left that my grandmother bought me. She's dead now, but I was probably 16. So we were into playing. We were big into playing from like 14 to like 17. Then we just didn't care anymore.
Right.
And I kept that one. It's a cheap ass. It's like a Johnson or something. It's probably $100 guitar, but I kept it, and I have new strings on it, and I'll pick it up at the house every now and then. And the kids were like making fun of me, like, "You don't know what you're doing."
Dude, if we jam for like 2 weeks, you'll be jamming again.
Yeah, I know, man. It's just how it is. Like your fingers, you got to build the couch. I mean, shit, your fingers hurt for fucking 2 weeks, and then you got to remember chords and remember songs. Because I was bad about learning songs. I knew a little bit of chords, but I was bad about like I would hear something and I'd try to play it, and I would never really create anything new. I was just recreating shit and playing stuff, but most everything I learned was on acoustic, and so then when I got an electric in my hand, it's so much easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, usually on electrics you have like lower gauge strings,
right?
And on top of that, your fretboards, generally speaking, are going to be
thinner. Yeah. So just like when I picked that up, it was easier to play that. You know, that same shit I was playing on acoustic. So it's like if you get it down on acoustic, you can play it on anything, right?
Oh God, yeah, dude.
But yeah, dude. No, I still have a love for I have a love for music. I have a love for guitar, and I feel like if it was, it's not as important to me these days. But I feel like I beat myself up for a long time saying, "Damn, I need to play. I need to keep playing." You know, I done forgot all this shit. I forgot more than I knew.
Well, it's therapy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing too, and that's something that you talk about a lot on this show. I've noticed with every guest, it's like what are you doing other than working? Because obviously, you know, like everybody that comes on this show. They're hustlers, man.
Yeah, for sure.
For the most part.
For sure.
Like that's the thing. Like what do you do for leisure? Like what brings you peace? And that's the thing too. Like even so, I mean, backtracking because I mean it is kind of a long story. So like I kind of just jumped around and did a lot of stuff from 11 years ago. I would say like my mindset of because I graduated high school when I was 17.
Yeah.
So like my mindset was like from that point I was just trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do. You know, and I did end up going to get my associates from BIPSI. Like, thank God. You know what I'm saying? I did too.
I got associates before I got my bachelor's at NSU. But yeah, right. I did my associates.
But you see what I'm saying?
But I didn't do it right out of high school though. I waited like fucking 5 years, came back and did online.
It took me till 2017 to finally do it though.
And when did you graduate?
From high school? December of 2011.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
yeah. So it's
like
funny. I just thought about something that's really funny. So this is how I respect you as an individual as a whole. That you're the only person that's ever come on the show that's younger than me.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't think of anyone younger than me that's ever been on here.
Well, that is something you guys talked about in the BNI group. Is like, I mean, it was like me, Michaela.
Right. I mean, you're just you're a new wave of what we've been trying to do. So like you're keeping this thing going. Like I know we're not the age difference isn't that much, but it is. Like for me, most people that come on here. We're talking about all this shit. They're typically another 5 to 10 years older than me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're, I don't know, how old are you?
28. 28.
So I'm 33. So yeah, 5 years younger than me. It's crazy. I just was thinking about that when you're talking. I was like, oh shit, that's a good thing, man. That excites me. That's why I brought it up.
Well, yeah,
I've never thought about it.
It's more. I mean, dude, that's the crazy thing about being this age too, though, man. Like Anthony can tell you the same thing. We got a lot of buddies that we got buddies that have been in and out of rehab. We got buddies in prison, but then we got buddies that. Or doctors, we got buddies that are, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a weird age, man. Like,
yeah, it is. You start realizing it's funny because I look back and like even I've reconnected with some people in the past. I think like even some that were have been on the show that I grew up with that are now like attorneys now and doctors and shit. It's like I never picked that for them. I didn't think they'd ever do that because they're complete polar opposite growing up, you know.
Right.
And then the people you thought were going to do good just kind of went down a wrong path.
Yeah.
And they fizzled out, you know.
Well, yeah, dude, and I mean, you can't call it. You know, it's I don't know, it's wild. The what I notice more often than not. I mean, what really gets people more often than not is substance abuse, bro. Like, honest to God, like people that have a lot of potential. Like, that's the thing that I've noticed. Like, what really gets people.
It's always something, yeah. You're right. I mean, I do look back at that, and there's people that got like bad off on fucking meth and shit that I didn't even think. They never even had the tendency to do anything like that growing up.
Right.
You know, but they just hooked on, like, at some point it was presented to them and they grabbed a hold to it and it was hooked. You know, I don't know how that works, but I've definitely seen a handful of people that I grew up with. It's like, shit, man, they just got them. It's over with, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's 2% of people that get on methamphetamines get off of it and stay off of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a horrible thing. Well, that's something that's really bad, too. That and opioids, man. Opioids have fucking been bad for 20 years, though. Like, which, when I don't know how it was when you were in school, but like when I was in school, like everyone loved fucking Lortabs and Xanaxes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of spots that I would distance myself from. Because, I mean, my thing was, like, people were drinking, smoking weed, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Once I started seeing people, like, snorting pills, I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and go. Because that's whenever doors get kicked in, bro.
Well, not only that, that leads to something else. And then it just keeps building on that, like, right. And then the Adderall thing took off, too. But that probably took off while you were in high school. For me, it took off when I was, you know, coming into my drinking years.
Yeah.
So it really didn't affect us that much, but there's people that bad off on that shit too.
Well, I remember I used to make the joke. I never did it, but I used to make the joke. Like, any stimulants get me like...
Me too.
Yeah, like, I'm really sensitive to them, but I remember I always make the joke. Like, I'd walk into a party, I'd be like, who's got Adderall? And they're like...
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've taken it a handful of times, but I wanted to take it because I wanted to, like, stay up all night and I had to work early the next day or some shit. I've never just taken it. Like, some people just... Like, I know people that are on that shit that are still on it to this day that are fucking... They cannot function without it. And they're eating 2 or 3 a day just to fucking be level-headed. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the thing, man. Like, I deprive myself from the caffeine so much. So, like, when I need it... Like, literally, dude, I can walk into a gas station and get like one of these or like a triple shot. Say if they have like the triple shot espresso, like the Starbucks ones, a lot of sugar in it, but still, like, if I'm coming home from Dallas or I'm coming home from a shoot, and I feel like I'm about to like go into the tree line, I'm gonna chug that, and then I'm
that's the easy. I can sip on these things. They're great, but they're extremely strong for me now because I think, and you've heard me talk about this too, but I figured out my recovery and my rest and how my body works. So it's like now I only need minimal. If I do ever need caffeine, it's a minimal amount because I'm way more sensitive to it. Whereas a year or 2 years ago, I was running on fucking fumes all the time. So I could drink 2 or 3 of these things a day
and be like
and not even feel it. But now, dude, these rank like they're like 300 milligrams of caffeine. They're great.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I drink a quarter of that thing and I'm fucking good.
Yeah.
And good for a while. I think it's a good sipper though. You just sip on it all day if you want like some kind of.
Well, that's what my brother was drinking this morning when I took him to the airport.
Yeah,
he's going to his hitch. I think it's still in the car. It's probably in that car door. Honestly, I don't know. but yeah, man. But yeah, well, after that, so me and him actually started working together. Like right after I got out of that band, me and him started working together. At California Roll and Sushi, we were servers there.
Nice. Okay.
And then that's how I got into like the food industry. Because honestly, like I've worked fast food before. I've done Sonic stuff like that, but it's not the same. So like, so once I got there, I really got a love for making food because that was the cool thing too. They used to let us make our lunch. You remember that? Like we was like making fried rice and all kinds of stuff. Now, granted, when we use too much ingredient or too many ingredients or whatever, of course they get pissed off.
Yeah.
Whatever, but like we'd be like me and him would just be experimental. We're big on food. And that's the cool thing too. Like my brother is really who got me into that. Like because I remember me and him would watch Anthony Bourdain's show all the time.
Yeah.
And like my brother, for a guy that like never actually worked as a cook or a chef, which he worked as a cook. Let me not like do that, but he never managed a kitchen or whatever.
Right.
But he's an amazing cook, you know what I'm saying, for how little experience that he has in a professional setting. And really outside of that, like I remember, so whenever I started working for Jason Brady, this is kind of fast, you know, going fast forward a little bit. When I started working for Jason Brady, that was like the first like fine dining place that I ever worked at. And I think that was 2018. Yeah, it was. So in 2018, I started doing that, and then it was like midway through 2019, or like I think at the beginning of the year, I became sous chef up there, which granted, Wine Country closed I think in May or June of 2019, and then I headed to Nashville.
Well, so Wine Country, for those, because there's so many people that listen and watch this that are not from this area.
Oh, yeah.
Wine Country is something that was around for a good while.
15 years.
15 years, and it was a very high-end restaurant here. I'm trying to think. It wasn't Italian.
Well, it was considered like a French style bistro.
Right. French, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
but
I was trying to look for what the description was. Yeah.
We had a pasta. That was the thing, though. Like we had a pot. Like so, the way that kitchen was structured was like you had, of course, your expo. That's where your sous chef was. But then you had your saute one. So like really, all your proteins were coming off of that. And then saute two on the opposite side of the range was like a pasta, like saute kind of situation. So then you had like. You had pasta, all that good stuff coming off of there. And then flip side, back over on this side next to Saute 1, you had hot apps. So doing all your appetizers. And then you had your grill guy next to your pasta guy. But like that. And then you had grand manger. So desserts, salads, all that good stuff, breads. And there was that deck oven in there, like 800-900 degrees. It was insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like
if you can get something that hot, like that's the biggest problem, right? Like on cooking anything. I don't want to veer off on this, but we're just going to do this. You know how this fucking works. Yeah. Like when you're cooking anything, like if you have the ability to get from cold to hot, and you have all accessories you need, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, because that's the biggest problem I've noticed. Like in certain settings, it's like they can only get something so hot, like especially like a mobile cooking setting, right? You can only get something like maybe 300 degrees.
Yeah.
But if you want to sear something that's a amazing cut, and you can sear it at 500 real quick, dude. Like.
Well, it's amazing. That's like because I mean you would have those people. It was rare though. I'll say this: it was rare that I would have somebody say they wanted like a cut of meat, well, specifically steaks, to be that rare in this area.
Right.
But now, granted, when I went to Nashville, though, it was like you had a lot of people that, I mean, they damn near wanted steak tartare at times. Yeah. But then again, at that concept that we had at Nashville, so in Nashville, let me backtrack, though, because Wine Country, that kitchen, so it was formerly Giuseppe's, because Wine Country used to be across the street.
Giuseppe's was Italian.
Yeah, Giuseppe's was Italian. So all the equipment we had in there was Italian, pretty much. And like, that whole range they imported from Italy.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. I didn't realize, and in my head, that was the first fine dining place I'd ever been in. So I'm like, well, this is how all fine dining restaurants. Hell no, it's not how they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, in no way, shape, or form.
You were fucking spoiled there.
I was spoiled because the thing was, dude, it was like you come in on your day off as long as you're bringing your own ingredients. Now, granted, like, I mean, Brady didn't care if you're using spices, little shit like that. But like, if you brought your own ingredients, you come in there and experiment, do whatever the heck you wanted to do, so long as you weren't interfering with dinner service.
Yeah.
So I'd be in there on my days off in an Adidas tracksuit, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like Adidas tracksuit and apron, look like a Russian mob boss or something like that. Like, I'm like, man, I'm gonna make this sauce today. I don't even know what the hell.
Yeah.
But like, it was cool because we had that catering aspect to it as well. So me and Blake Frederick, he was a guy that I actually played football with when I was at Airline. I grew up with him as well. I went to Green Acres with him as well. But he's from Kaplan, Louisiana. Him and his family from Kaplan, Louisiana. And, like, they're all, like, he got a love for cooking, like, through his family as well, because I remember one of the first times, and he was actually my drummer, dude. Okay. Yeah. So, like, in every connection in my life, all the things I've ever been passionate about, he's been a part of them in some way, shape, or form, So, like, I remember at band practice one time, like we were actually at his folks' house, and because his dad had a shit ton of equipment, he used to let us practice, whenever they were at work. And I remember him like making roast and all that kind of stuff, and like it was one of the best fucking roasts I've ever had in my life. Yeah, like it was amazing. But like he's the reason why I went to Wine Country, because I was working retail at the time, and I just got out of school at Bipsy, and I was like, obviously I wanted to do what I'm doing right now, right? But I couldn't find. I couldn't find an outlet because, I mean, Brent Lattin during that time, I think Brent was still doing what I'm doing. It was just him. Yeah. Like, I think he had a virtual assistant, but, like, in that time frame, I didn't go to work for him yet because really I couldn't. He couldn't hire anybody full time. But long story short, with that, so I get to Wine Country, and we had that catering aspect. Like, Blake was ahead of all the catering. So, like, the first event I ever worked, we went down to Natchitoches. and we did like a seated plated for a wedding rehearsal for like 50 people. And I fell in love, like automatically fell in love with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, and you know this now because you're doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's, just all I was doing was salads, bro. But it was like, I never had to chop romaine faster in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's just I don't know, like when it's something that's important, it's just not just a regular dinner or regular lunch or whatever. When it's something important, it means a little more, I think, and it makes you care a little more too.
Right.
And so, I get it.
Yeah, because Matt Conover? So he moved. Really, me and him had a falling out, and if he sees this, whatever. But but he's one of the. I'll say this, talent wise, one of the best chefs you'd ever work with. I learned in a year's time, I learned more. I feel like I learned more from him than I would ever be able to learn from any other cook that I ever worked with. And that's no throwing salt at Jason or anybody like that, because Jason will tell you too, that dude is legit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There's little shit that he would do. Because he worked everywhere. He was in New York City for a long time. He's been out west. He's been out of the country. He's done everything. And I remember, the dynamic of him, he was the quintessential, crazy chef.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, we're at that – I remember us being at that event in Natchitoches, and he used to live in Natchitoches. And then Brady's he's like, shit, man, we need 2 chicken breasts on the fly. And, Conover just leaves. And we're like, what the fuck? What is he doing? He was back in 5 minutes from the grocery store, and he had chicken breast.
Yeah.
And we were like, how'd you do that? He's like, man, I used to live here. I know the back roads.
Yeah.
But he was already cooking them. You know what I'm saying? He already had them seasoned. He was already cooking them. It was like, okay, all right. But yeah, man. So that happened. Went to Nashville when Wine Country closed, and that was a huge shout out to Jason Brady, because he always made sure I had work. That was kind of his thing. He was like, I made sure his business continued to operate in a lot of ways, because if it hadn't been for guys like me and Blake, I don't know what the hell he would have done. And he'll even tell you that too. Those holiday seasons without guys like me and Blake that would be there 60 to 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
And not bitch. You know what I mean? It was what it was.
It's interesting too, because if you watch, what's that new show that came out? Has a guy from Shameless in it, plays a cook. We talked about the show already.
The Bear,
yeah. I have a newfound respect for the service industry, especially the back house now, because I'm doing this shit on the week, doing the catering, doing the barbecue shit. Yeah. So I found I've always loved to cook, I always enjoyed it, but I never really had insight to it. And then hanging out with Peanut here, here in the East Bank, and getting the ins and outs and stuff, and seeing how shit operates, and seeing a good functioning operation, and seeing a horrible one, and then trying to create your own and kind of use all those pieces. I've found respect for it. So it's interesting to have these conversations. Some people don't give a shit, but they don't realize how much goes into that.
Well, yeah, to make
every single moving part to make sure everything's perfect, especially when it comes to fine dining. It's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah. And the thing is, you could kind of get away with some of the menus that we had, on the catering side, were more laxed, because you'd have a bride that literally just wanted hamburgers.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, on the Wine Country side, dude.
Well, I've gotten bad about. I don't think it's it's just hard to explain. Well, it is, but it isn't. So, I'll see stuff that people want. I'm like, ew, that's not even fucking, I see people do things and cook things and sell things. And I'm just like, that's not, you didn't do anything. You just used some shit and put it together. You didn't create anything. You know what I mean? You use pre-cooked stuff or whatever. You really didn't create nothing. So, I hate doing shortcut shit.
Yeah.
I don't I really hate doing stuff that I didn't prepare.
Right.
I would rather serve. Here's an example. So last weekend I did turkey legs and smoked sausage, at this event for this outdoors wildlife and fisheries event. Because I knew it would be easy. But I smoked the turkey legs. I'd much rather you have a turkey leg versus a fucking piece of smoked sausage. But if you want smoked sausage, cool.
Right.
There's nothing good or creative about that to me.
Right.
Versus me smoking pork butts for fucking 18 hours and then taking the time to put it into a taco and make something out of it.
Right.
I appreciate that shit more. So I'll look. Even on my own stuff, on my own menus, I'm like, damn, this. I don't feel like I did anything, but I'm still putting it out there because people want it. You know what I mean? It's weird.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, your clients right.
Yeah, I know. That's what I know. But you just like I see it now. I see it just like the music industry. Yeah. Like people are like, "Oh, this is new shit. Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever heard." Nobody likes it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But it was an amazing fucking piece of art. But
right,
it just is what it is, man.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, and that's what I realized too. With the amount of people that I talk to on a daily basis, I mean, even from networking or just building relationships or whatever, like you'd be surprised the amount of people that don't know how to cook.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no idea, like, what the hell.
And they like the worst shit, too. They're like, oh, it's so good. Like, I was somewhere with the family, like, I say the dad's side of the family, somewhere down there, and I believe we were out of town, like, in vacation, or, like, we're in Colorado, so I don't remember what we were there. They were like, yeah, the chicken strips are really good there. I'm like, did you just fucking say that? Like, the chicken strips are good? Like,
you just went out of town and ate chicken strips.
Yeah, like, what the fuck,
chicken strips
man?
At home.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're in Nashville, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's Nashville hot chicken. That's different. But no, this is just some random place. They got really good chicken strips. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking five?
Like, bro, you gotta try. You gotta try the corn fritters, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But no, man, I didn't mean to go on a tangent there. But no, I get it, man. I get the industry more now, I guess, than I did before. I never even thought about it.
Right. And yeah, once Wine Country closed and I got to Nashville, that was a whole different animal. Which, granted, I was there for several months by myself. My buddy Cameron Merrill was there, and I had some family that was about like
No, go ahead. Did you go there to play?
Actually,
or did you go there to cook?
I went there to cook.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, because I wasn't... At that point, I just really wasn't interested in, like playing for a living. But so this kitchen equally as nice. It was in the Thompson Hotel down in the Gulch.
What's the name of the
Marsh House?
Marsh House. Okay,
that's owned by Brian Landry. So Brian
Thompson Hotel. Where's that at in correlation to Broadway?
It's walking distance.
Okay,
so I would walk to Broadway from Works parking lot on my days off because like we had parking is down there.
Yeah.
But like they would pay for your parking if you worked there.
Gotcha.
So I would just park in the Work parking lot and I'd walk to Broadway because I was like, it was Austin is Congress and then Nashville is that long road. I think it's Gallatin. So like you walk up, you walk up to Gallatin and then you walk down Gallatin and then you'd hit a left on Second, I think, and then. Then you could hit another left and you'd be like parallel because you couldn't walk over the highway or whatever. It was something.
Is that place still there?
Marsh House, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So like Brian Landry owns a lot of different concepts. Like he owns a place in Fort Worth now. He owns places in New Orleans. He owns places it's QED Hospitality is his group.
Okay.
And he owns places in Nashville as well. And he in particular, I only saw him a little bit. But he went to culinary school with Jason Brady in Charleston, South Carolina. So, like, they were, like, best friends in college. So that's really how I got the job, essentially. But I think under different circumstances, it would have been a great time for me. Like, it was very different than any concept I've ever worked in terms of, I mean, there were techniques I wasn't familiar with. And, like, that was really humbling in and of itself. But then on top of that, like, they had me working as a lead line cook. And all that really meant was like, I was doing the hardest shit that line cooks had to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I could handle it. But the thing was like, I did have moments of, not being there with my wife at the time. I didn't have kids yet, but not being there with my wife at the time, being like, I only saw, I was there for several months. Probably only saw my buddy Merrill like 4 or 5 times. We really didn't get to hang out a lot. And then on top of that, I only saw my family a few times that lived about an hour away from there, which all worth it for sure. But I remember a lot of nights, like, my sous chef would be like, hey, bro, like, what's going on? Like, my orders, everything were coming out fine.
Yeah.
But he's just like, you're not yourself today. Like, what's going on? It's just like, emotionally, it kind of jacked with me because it was like I wanted things to be one way, and they just didn't really.
It is what it is, yeah.
It didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But I made my lifelong relationships. I mean, there's people I'm friends with in Nashville that I would have never known. I'm glad I know them. One guy in particular is my buddy Sam, and I remember and we're just going to go there, but I really remember this. Like, it's kind of because we know, like, I mean, yeah, obviously racism exists in general, but like, I realize like kind of how unified we are here as people, like as opposed to like in Tennessee and places in the Midwest, it's really kind of weird. Because, like, I remember, like, the guys that were from Nashville that I worked with, like, I would hang out with the black cooks. And like, I remember one guy looking at me one day and be like, "Why are you hanging out with them?" And I'm like, "Because they're my friends. What are you talking about?" You know what I'm saying? Like, that was normal to me, but I remember that was like a weird culture shock too. Like, not saying everybody from Nashville's like that, but hell, there's no instance in which I can think of here in which that happened in a work environment.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, an individual's like, would ask me why I'm hanging out with somebody because of
Their color. Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean why I'm hanging out with him?" But anyway, like, my buddy Sam, we ended up being like real tight. I remember him telling me too, like, he grew up in Nashville. And I remember him telling me too, there's been a lot of gentrification, like where he grew up is like all like everything's been gentrified.
Well, it's interesting too, because like I feel like it depends on the industry too, right? Because you have everything's so integrated now, but versus 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, you didn't have, people of different races in leading roles.
Right.
So those people in leading roles would look down upon those other people who may just be doing prep work or washing dishes or something, not thinking, I've seen it in multiple industries viewed different ways. In some industries, it's been progressive for a long time, whereas other industries, it's still lingering,
Right.
So it makes sense. I mean, and I think, but I mean, it is interesting how that would seem like more progressive area because it is than here, but in that specific, industry, not.
It was weird, man. Like, the experience was odd too, because I remember me and him hanging out after work. We'd usually get out between 12 and 1. It was pretty decent, but like, we were hanging out. It was like 1:30 in the morning. We're hanging out on his front porch, and I mean, it's a pretty nice neighborhood.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, but it was like these condos. Like, we're hanging out on the porch of these condos, and like, Nashville PD rolls up, stops, and we're looking at each other, and we're looking at him. We got our beers, which is legal. We're home.
Yeah, home.
And he like spotlights us. And like, dude, it was the weirdest. Like, but it was the weirdest thing. Like, we were spotlighted for like 3 or 4 minutes. And I guess he was trying to see if we were going to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then like, he took spotlight off and rolled. But I remember Sam looking at me, and he's like, I'm telling you, he's like, after growing up here, had you not been here, that would have went down a lot different.
Yeah.
I was like...
Unfortunately, that's something we're still dealing with, man, and we're going to for a long time. I think it's one of those things where it's a stain on the industry so long that it takes beating the old mindset out of someone before the new takes place,
Right.
It sucks, but it is, it's just one of those things where, we're dealing with that as a whole.
Yeah. Do you remember... So did you ever watch Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
Dude, it's been so fucking long ago, but yeah, I do remember.
Well,
I've watched
the ridiculousness of this situation. So CBD was big up there. This is before CBD was legal. It was even legal here. I remember, like, I was like, wait, you can just smoke CBD flower? Mm-hmm. And like, they're like, people in Nashville, they're like, yeah. So like, I went and got like a bunch of like CBD like pre-rolls, and I went out to this park. It's like connected to this lake. And I remember, like, this was one of my first days in Nashville, and it was like something out of that movie. I would like smoke this whole thing down, and it makes you feel pretty good. You're not like stoned.
Yeah, it's not like it
makes
a different
you feel
high,
really good. And I remember, like, I was walking on this trail, and I shit you not, fucking baby deer walks up to me, dude, and I'm like, I mean, like, literally, it was like that movie. I'm just like, oh. I'm like out of my mind. Like, is this really happening right now? And then, like, a random guy I didn't even know was on the trail with me, like, walks by. He's like, man, they're not scared of anything around here. And I'm like, yeah, apparently not. That was a surreal moment. The rest of it's pretty dark, though, so I guess we'll get off of Nashville now.
Oh, dude, let's go dark. I like dark. Come on, you go dark.
No, we're not going to go that
Okay,
dark.
never mind.
No, so...
We'll have any alcohol for that.
Fast forward, 2020 happens. It's before COVID. And that's how I get into what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So, Brent Lattin took a shot on me, and I'm ever grateful for him in that regard, because had I continued to be in the service industry, COVID would have been hell, because, I mean, I had kids on the way at that point.
Yeah, and it killed everybody for a long time.
So, I mean, Brent made sure, we were all paid throughout the pandemic, and, I mean, he gave us work to do, because the thing is, he had or still does have a contract with Caddo Parish, so like all their PSAs, stuff like that. I was able to edit stuff all throughout the pandemic pretty much, but like, and as we got to go back to work, I mean, yeah, we'd be masked up, but I'd go to this city hall and film and do stuff like that. It was cool, but that more so, that experience got me, Brent's like big, he's a Christian as well. He's got kind of, he's more like he's got more of like a liberal mindset where that's concerned. He's not like hardcore Southern Baptist, and I think that's why me and him got along so well, because I kind of drifted away from that and I came back to it. You know what I'm saying? But like with a different mindset, you know, because like one of his clients too was a Peaceful Rest Baptist Church. That's where he plays organ, and like every Sunday or every week, I would edit the sermon from that past Sunday to be like published on. I think it's on KTAL is the station they use or whatever, but. So like essentially I was like, well, I was kind of like forced to be in the Word again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, which I remember at first like being kind of like apprehensive about it. And then like I actually got to know, as Pastor Tim Jones, dude, honestly, man, like that would be a guy to be on this show though. If you're just talking about like straight up, like not just theology, but just like philosophy.
Yeah.
Like that dude is like crazy smart, dude. Like, and he's not like you know what I'm saying? He's not one of those guys where you feel like this dude's judging me.
Yeah.
He's a Southern Baptist preacher. It's like, you're real, dude. You know what I'm saying? But long story short, it was good. My experience at YPE, Young Pros, was really good from a spiritual standpoint, but it was also really good, like, of course, from a technical standpoint of my job. Because what ended up happening was, like, I ended up editing the majority of the time that I was there. Like, I shot a good bit, but I had a decent hold on, or rather a decent grasp of how I wanted my style to look, so to speak. And I got to hone that in, but like editing, I mean, dude, I got to the point where, and I'm still to the point now, the workload I can take on, I feel like is a heck of a lot more than most people that do what I do for that reason.
Yeah.
Because Brent's one of those guys, dude, when you watch him edit, it's like, that's the example you want to go off of if you're trying to do that for a living. I mean, it's just like, it's lightning speed, bro. Like, and it's attention to detail.
Yeah, and there's so many
too.
people that it takes forever, and some people never grasp that, especially photographers. Like, you know, where it takes. I'm not saying anything against photographer. I'm just saying, like, there's photographers that it takes them so long to get stuff back, like wedding photographers and stuff, because it takes them so long to edit.
Right.
They're just not as quick, you know.
Right.
I'm not saying they're not good. They're just slow, you know.
Yeah, that was Brent's thing too. He's like, dude, it's efficiency. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's worked for him. Obviously, I mean, he still has a lot of success to this day. Like, you can't get a hold of that guy anymore, bro. Like,
yeah,
he's everywhere at once. But so yeah, that happened, and then yeah, now we're here, bro. I started Surface Wave.
Yeah, now we're here.
Yeah,
you're doing big kid shit, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. No, it's badass, man. It's like you actually get to spend time with my kids. But the cool thing that I've realized now is that I've kind of reached a goal in which I have new goals set. And I remember you and Nate talking about that. It's like, so like, what do you do whenever you get where you want to be? Well, you need to already have goals set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
for after that.
Or
be thinking about it at least.
Yeah, because like, you know, if you get to that point, I've done that so many times with fitness as well, to where, because I remember, dude, like I blew up at one point. I remember when I lost all that weight, I was kind of like, well, shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have like a goal in mind, you know, it doesn't, you're not going to keep progressing as a human being. And like, that's the big thing with my business, where I'm like, right now, I'm really happy because I'm working. Everybody I work with, I love them. It's not like I like them. No, like I love the people I work with right now. And like, I had to work with a lot of people that I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say I didn't like per se, but at the same time, I work with people that maybe like I figured out they don't like my style, or I figured out like whatever they're demanding, they're not really realizing like the work that goes into that. They don't necessarily appreciate the work, or you figure out what kind of clients you want to work with also as a business owner.
Yeah, and then you want to copy and paste them if you can.
Yeah.
But it takes some people, man, they never figure it out.
Yeah.
There's people that I've done business with in marketing, and I'm like, give me your perfect ideal client, and they don't know. And I'm like, how? And they've been in business for 10, 20 years. I'm like, how do you not know?
Yeah.
Like anyone? I'm like, anyone with money? I'm like, no, that's not, no. Like,
no, I can't.
I'll figure it out for you, but like, you should know at least who your perfect client is so I can go out and find them for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where most people don't have realistic expectations when it comes to anything, dude. Anything.
Right.
I was having a conversation with Bhutan like yesterday. I think about what he does and what I do. He does IT, and we do a lot of marketing, web design shit. and what you do. It's the same thing. It's like they think, oh, it's simple, it's easy. Like how many times have you heard that? Oh, it's just an easy, quick little shoot.
Yeah, it's a quick shoot.
It's
a little quick
nothing,
edit.
nothing to it. Nothing quick. Like they have no fucking clue what they're talking about.
Nah.
You know, I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, you could easily do it on your iPhone.
Yeah,
but is it going to look as good as it does when I do it? No, it's not. You know what I mean?
Well, there's a realtor the other day. I was kind of coaching her because I know she's not really in a position to. She's not in a position to like put me on retainer right now. Which, of course, I mean, like you got to start somewhere. But like I kind of coached her up. I remember her sending me the video, and she's like, "Why is it rendering out like this?" And then I figured out the problem with her. But like that's the thing too, dude. A lot of your job's going to be doing stuff that you're not getting paid for. Like I feel like that's how you retain the right clients.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to be careful. So, like, some people don't value what they get for free,
right?
And then some people need to see something before they value it. So you got to pick and choose who they are, right? Because there's a lot of times where I've done stuff like people just want you to do shit for free, and they don't value it. And there's times where now we're gonna have this opportunity to do something. Let's do it and see if it works out. You know, if it's gonna pay it forward kind of thing. And that happens a lot, like especially like nonprofit stuff. You know. Yeah. Philanthropic endeavors. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do it. Just, you know, give us a shout out, you know, whatever.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like you can pick and choose that kind of stuff. And that's something I've realized too. Like there's some people that, you know, I'll extend that kind of offer to, but that's one thing, dude. There was a Gary Vee podcast that you had us listen to in BNI one time. And I remember him talking about, well, I mean, this is how Gary Vee put it because it's Gary Vee, but he was like, he said, he said, if you give to someone with the expectation of something in return, then you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the thing is like,
especially if you're giving, you know,
yeah,
someone's paying for something, they expect something in return, right?
Right.
But if you're just giving something, if you go into the situation thinking about what you're going to get out of it before you even do it, then you're a piece of shit.
Because the way I view that is like, I mean, almost every realtor that I've worked with now, or I'm working with on a monthly basis now, or like most clients that come back to me, I offered them something for free at first because it was like, you don't know me, you don't trust me, you don't know anything about, like, you can look at a video that I've done for somebody else, but you don't know how you're going to look on camera, you don't know how I'm going to convey your message. So it's like, well, let's do something. And the thing is, like, worst case scenario, bro, they never call me again. Yeah. It's like, okay, like, that's fine. Because the thing is, like, they may get with me and realize, well, I don't really like working with this guy because XYZ. Like, not everybody's going to like you. You know, and that's the big thing that I've learned, and I think that I've learned in entrepreneurship is that if you're afraid of getting told no, you ain't going to last, bro. Because you're going to get told no a lot. Yeah, you got to get kicked in the dick a lot. It is what it is. Like, man, I hate that fucking word entrepreneurship. I hate the word entrepreneur. Not because I have anything against it, but so many people have stalled the fucking demeanor. You know what I mean? Like all these the fake CEOs and these fake people that bullshit. Like, if you have to say that you are an entrepreneur, you're probably fucking not. You know what I mean? Yeah. Your mom and daddy probably gave you a shitload of money to start this fucking thing, or you probably have a pool of investors, or or you're bullshit trying to fake it till you make it. Which I get that. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know why, dude. I don't know why that word irks me. But I think I've just seen too many people bullshit. I've seen too many bullshit artists. You know. I don't even, consider I don't consider us entrepreneurs. I just consider us hardworking motherfuckers that know how to hustle. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is, right? Hustles. Yeah, I mean, for real, because it sounds better to me, right? Like, I wouldn't consider myself that because there had to be an opportunity line up for me to have I had to be fortunate enough to gain this position somehow, right? Yeah. Hard work's part of it, but like, I don't know, man. It's just it's one of those things where it's been used so many times to describe so many types of people that it's so broad now that it doesn't even have any merit to me anymore, I think. Well, that's the big thing though, dude. Like, I'm honest with people all the time about like how I got my start. Like that first Sony that I had, like that. Yeah, my mother bought that. Yeah. But the thing is like she also knew at the same time, like she's like, go make money with it. Well, that's literally what she said. She was like, go make money with it. Yeah, that's great. Like, so people look at me and they're like, oh, you have a marketing company. No, me and two partners have a marketing company, and they brought me on. I was in oil and gas, and they took a chance on me because they thought I could, do some forefront business on this. And so I tried it out while I was juggling both, and then it worked out, right? But they took a chance on me, and then it spiraled into me growing my network of a whole other thing, and then all this other shit I'm doing now. Every opportunity you have,
I feel like most of us, we do somewhat create our opportunities, but there's still someone that helped us a little bit along the way.
God, yeah.
And then when people try to not give those people their accolade or their you know, or their respect or anything, that's where that word gets tarnished, right?
Right. Because dude, the big thing is like what I've seen so many times. I've seen so many individuals, seriously, through the years, where a family member buys them a piece of equipment, especially like a camera, and that thing just collects dust, bro.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
But like that's what I realized. Not only in my industry, whatever industry you're in, I feel like what you have to do if you want to be successful is just do what 99% of people won't. Because that, like, if you're being consistent, like, that's the thing that I realized. Like, if you're being consistent on a daily basis, like, I literally have a reminder in my phone every single day that says to pray, says to stretch, says to drink X amount of water, do all the stuff that I know I need to do to, like, feel a baseline of, like, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Because when I don't do that, I get in a funk.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have that reminder in my phone every day. I have, on top of all the other shit on my schedule, it says that every single day to do that ritual of things, and it works. And it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't have to be at the same time every day, but at some point I'm like, okay, I know I need to pray right now, or I know I need to book, like, whatever it is that works for me.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're consistent, like, dude, 99% of people aren't going to do that.
No.
They're not going to be consistent in something like that every day.
Well, no, because it's against the grain, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't need to do that. I'm doing just fine. And you catch yourself in something that's like, well, what did I do? What did I change? Why am I doing better now than I was before? Why am I doing worse now than before? It's because something's off. Yeah. But you got to be self-aware, man. That's the biggest thing. I think self-awareness is the biggest issue for anyone. I hate, like, bringing up topics that other people are well known discussing, because I feel like I'm stealing people's word and verbiage, which is how I try not to. But it's like, if you're not self-aware, which is fine, it takes people sometimes their whole fucking life. Like, you take a person who's in a nursing home on their deathbed, and they wish they would have done all these things, but they didn't do it because they were scared to take a risk, right?
Right.
And so now they have a life, their lasting days are full of regret.
Yeah.
You know, they're like trying to get right with whatever their religion is because they know it's over with, and then they're also reflecting on all the things they didn't do. I think if you just jump out and do the fucking figure out what it is. Like, become self-aware about what I was going with that. Is become self-aware by trying to find what you like.
Yeah.
And even if somebody, and another big issue is, like, people think that they have to do something. They're in a business and they have to work there X amount of years. And then next thing you know, it's 15 years and they're still fucking doing the same thing they were doing. They hate it. Then they think, well, they can't leave because of the risk. The risk of insurance, or the risk of... But that, I think, is the biggest thing, because there's so many opportunities every single breathing moment that we pass people. Unless you are able to sit and have a conversation with someone, you don't know what you're fucking missing. Like, there's opportunities anytime walking past people. You don't know who they know, what they need. You know, there's an opportunity to do something you always want to do. You just got to find it, right?
I got to plug somebody, and it is kind of a, where are we at?
No, we're good.
We're good.
I'm just.
I got to plug somebody though, and it's a Christian story, but just bear with me. Because the concept of it is really like it appeals to me spiritually, but it also appeals to me philosophically. So Bobby Stevenson, really, like, he was the head of high school ministry at First Baptist Bossier for years. Like, affected thousands of lives positively. Like, dude was just, you talk about an individual that was like did things without the expectation of anything in return, and really meant it. Like, that was that dude. And honestly, he's really the reason why I got baptized, bro. Like, that was my boy. But he passed away a few months ago. Yeah,
we talked about this briefly, I think. Yeah.
That jacked me up pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I remember one of the stories. I never knew this story, though, but one of his sayings was, just buy the waffle. So there we go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just, you never know if you do something, kind of thing. So, like, there was this guy. He's obviously a little off, you know what I'm saying? But, like, he was asking for money and food or whatever. And Bobby was like, all right, man, you know, like, whatever, like, we'll go in a Waffle House. And this dude, like, he'd been in prison. So, like, what he started, you know, Bobby was noticing, like, he's sitting there talking to him. He was noticing, like, he was cutting a hole in the middle of the waffle. And, like, he took that bite, and then, like, he poured his chocolate milk into the hole in the waffle.
Nice,
and was, like, eating it or whatever. But, like, this guy, like, you know, he sat there and witnessed to him or whatever. And like, really, the way Bobby was though, like, you wouldn't even know if he was witnessing to you.
Right.
Like, that's how cool he was about it though. It was like, he could like implement like God into a conversation with an atheist, and that atheist would walk away being like, well, I still believe what I believe, but like, I like that guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he was genuine, you know, and like, but his whole point was like, this guy, even though like he was kind of nuts, he was moved by their conversation. And like, from that point forward, like he ended up seeing him again. And like, he really was like, he was into the word. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like you could tell it changed that guy's life just a little bit for the better, you know, just having that meal with Bobby. So like, his thing was just buy the waffle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, I could have just rolled by that guy, but like that was his mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's,
like,
I mean, that's everything, man. You
Yeah.
apply that to everything. Like, if you don't take the opportunity, you have no idea what the outcome's going to be.
Right.
Ever. Like,
Yeah.
you don't fucking know. Like, if you're too chicken shit to like take that one, and we had this conversation, you got to get back in BNI because I was talking about it today, but like, so like there's something that someone posted a video, and we kind of highlight things to educate and help each other learn how to network better. And Marshall was talking about, you shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be scared to do anything in your own business, right?
Right.
In life or anything. But I brought up the point that people seem to get anxiety and fear misconstrued, right? Because there's a difference. If something scares the shit out of you, you're frightened, is different than being anxious about making a decision,
right? Because
you're worried about the outcome. It's two different things, in my opinion. People may want to argue with me about it, but I believe that. So it's like, if you're a bit anxious to make some type of decision or choice, because you're afraid, but not so much frightened, you're just worried about how that outcome's going to, be.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get a yes, so you're probably not going to fucking ask the question, right?
Right.
Or you're not going to take an opportunity to do something to help someone because you may worried about how others see that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is a big issue too a lot of times.
Oh yeah, and it was like you talking about the other day. The whole social media aspect of thing, and that it's high school amplified. It's like, yeah, dude. Like,
it is, man. But my thing is like, look, it's what you want it to be, right?
Yeah.
It could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you want to get on there and argue, then that's what it is for you. If you want to get on there and bring each other up, then that's what it is for you.
Right.
So it's not just because it's a negative thing for one person doesn't mean it has to be for another. It is everyone as a whole communicating.
Right.
And unfortunately, we all do not think the same. We're always going to have disagreements.
Right.
So you just find your fucking lane, find your community. That's what it is. It's fucking community. Right. You decide to be if you want to be in that community that's argumentative and never gets anything resolved, probably not going to get anything out of it. But if you find that community and get in that lane, dude, reap the benefits. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Went on a tangent on that shit.
Philosophy, my
No,
dude.
yeah. I mean, we can keep doing that all day long. But like, yeah, man, I think what you're doing is great, dude. I'm proud of you. Just so you know, not saying this to fluff your ass or anything because we're on the air, but I'm proud of you because it takes a lot of balls to go out there and do something, especially not knowing if you can pay your bills next month, and you have children too. And that's something that's scary, right? It's fucking, or makes you anxious, whatever the fuck. It's something that you're like, man, I don't know, but you see the writing on the wall. Like,
right.
I know I have a valuable service that I can provide for someone, and I know I can do it right. And you just got to fucking put the work in.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing. The clients that I work with on a monthly basis now, yourself included, I mean, it's like I actually look forward to seeing those people. So then, like, it makes it to where all I'm really doing at the end of the day, outside of when I'm editing, I mean, editing is probably the most monotonous task that I have, but still I find enjoyment in it because it's like I'm really I'm doing something that most people, like most of the population, can't do or professionally or in like an adequate manner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a skill that you have to hone in over time. So that's something in and of itself. I'm just like, well, it is an art form at the same time. I get more juiced up when I'm filming something, of course.
Right.
Right.
Because you're in the moment.
But then, dude.
But then afterwards, it's a cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah. Like I get it in my industry too. It's like you're collecting all this content. It's like, oh hell yeah. But afterwards, the way you present that is a whole other piece of the artwork.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah, dude. It's like, yeah, the promo we're doing tomorrow. I'm not gonna say. Well, I can't play. You're just gonna have to see it.
Okay.
I'm doing a promo for. I'll tell you off camera, but
yeah.
I want it to be a surprise for the world.
Okay.
But I'm doing a promo for our girl Brittany Shepherd tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's going to be legit. Did I already tell you about it?
No. You may have last week if we were partaking in some alcoholic beverages. I do not remember the specifics of that. But
yeah, no, I'll tell you about it.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
Cool.
But yeah.
I think I think that, so we haven't even kind of divulged what it is you're doing, but I mean, you're doing full-scale video production and you're a one-man shop right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And the way, I mean, dude, I've honestly found one person that I trust, like, to film the same way that I film.
Yeah, which is different. Everyone's different, man. So that's hard in itself.
But she's so good. She has her own style, but she's so good she can emulate my style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she's legit. So, but she has her own thing going too. It's Amy Bublis. I was telling you about her.
Yeah.
We've done a couple weddings together now, and like, I think going forward, I know going forward, I'm going to try to start throwing her some real estate stuff for sure, because that's something she wants to get into. She's not familiar with.
Yeah.
But like, you know, as far as how I've structured everything, it honestly, dude, all I did was watch YouTube though. I watched guys in like New York, Los Angeles.
You fucking did your research. Yeah. It's not just watching YouTube. You did your
research. I did.
That's just your form. That's just your form of fucking, teaching yourself now. Like, right? Like, used to be it was reading a book, and you get a fucking PhD for reading so many books and answering so many fucking questions.
Right.
Now the information is presented differently, but you're still fucking honing your craft and studying. You know what I mean?
And there's aspects. I mean, dude, obviously, like, just from a standpoint of, that's what I mean. That's the kind of thing me and Brent would run into all the time. Brent would be like, he's like, dude, as soon as I get this check, we finna buy XYZ.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you're always, like you said, you're always like, a lot of it at this point, dude, like, it's not so much a technique thing anymore as much as it's like
efficiency.
Well, yeah, there's just equipment I want.
Yep, exactly. Me too. It's like there's shit for barbecue. I'm like, keep growing it and putting it back into it until I get where I want to, where it's seamless and not a headache. Even though I enjoy it, I want it to be a little more seamless and less of a headache. Right. You know what I mean? But you don't understand that till you get in the fucking nuts and bolts of everything, get in nit and gritty. Well, I wanted to bring this up because you hadn't explained it. So the real estate video market is huge. Mm-hmm. So you refer to real estate, that's what you're talking about, and specifically listing highlights, right?
Yeah.
So this stuff came along, new age of video to social media, about 7 years ago, 6 years. It's about 6 years ago. I tried to step in front of it. I had a videographer that worked for me full time. I saw the writing on the wall, so I started doing the things you're doing now. I started trying to do that, and we did a lot of that initially because the market wasn't crazy like it has been the past year.
Right.
Whereas a listing would go out and it would sit on the market for almost 6 months. So how do you highlight that listing better? Photos are great, but here's the problem. Photos can be bullshitted. And when you look at those highly produced fucking edited images, and then you have someone look at that on the MLS or any time of Zillow or fucking Realtor.com, you see those images, you walk in the house, and it looks like shit.
Yeah.
You're like, but you can't really bullshit a video.
You can't.
You can do a little bit of lighting tricks and shit like that, but what you see is what you get. But then you're able to highlight certain features of the house. I remember doing a lot of work with builders and stuff early on. I don't even know if we talked about this, but I did a lot of this shit early on.
Yeah.
And I remember doing like highlighting specific features the builder did that was different because there's a lot of people building houses. So what's different about this? Highlighting those things. But I think it's extremely important now what you're doing and what you've been doing through kind of the busy season. Now it's slowing down. I think that your shit's going to get really, really busy because the listings are about to start. I mean, what our average listing on the market now is like 40 days. Whereas
Nick will let me know.
Yeah, he knows.
Market update.
Yeah,
Did he say it today?
I don't know. He didn't, but I'll tell you that I know right now it's around 40 days, and whereas 6 months ago it was like 15 days. House on the market, and that's been nationwide, not just here.
I remember at one point Nick was like, average days on market 10. I'm like,
yeah, dude.
God, dude.
And that was real, and that's in a market that's not aggressive. We're not even an aggressive market. Like go to DFW, we're in that fucking 1 day, 2 days. Like lucky, you're lucky. I mean, you're gonna have 20 offers on a house as soon as it goes live.
Yeah.
And that market's gonna stay competitive there, but I think it is cool that you're doing that, and I think that there's like a resurgence for it,
right?
Because I felt like I was just trying to get in the door to take photos and videos because we were just trying to create another side of revenue,
right?
So we had 20 or 30 agents every month. We were making a little grip there and paying the photographer and videographer, but then the market started speeding up again, and then people started doing what we were doing, and then it was just a dog and pony show and like chasing the bone. I was like, and then I didn't have a reliable fucking employees at the time. So we didn't chase it no further, and we kind of hung it up. And then when I met you, I was like, fuck trying to do this myself. I'll just pass you all the business. Like, fuck it, dude. Like, and I know you're good. Like, that's another thing, because I saw there would be so many times where I'd send someone out that I thought was going to be great to work with us, and they do a shit job.
Yeah.
Or not show up, or try to shoot the house dirty. Like, dude, if it's fucked up, just leave.
Well, call me if it's dirty, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, reschedule. Don't just try to turn shit into a shit sandwich. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, though, dude. I mean, you already know that too. Like when I was first starting out, I wasn't trying to hound y'all, but there'd be that $150 check. Sometimes I'd be like, bro,
you need it.
I'm like, I need to pay for some shit.
You need
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, but at the same time, if I came to a house and something wasn't right, like I had that issue with Creed before. Like, I'm like, well, listen, like, this ain't gonna look good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not finna.
No fault of anybody's.
Like, you ain't finna pay me money right now.
Yeah, no fault
I'm
of
not
anyone's.
gonna take your money if it's not gonna look good.
Right. I want it to be up to my standards. So in order for it to be up to my standards, I need you to do your due diligence on your side. It's like any project, not specifically just yours, but any project. Right. You got to do your legwork to give me what I need so I can do what you want me to do, kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, man, I think it's cool that you're doing that, and I think it's, like I said, I think the market's picking back up now, so it's going to be interesting how it transforms. And another thing you are doing too really well is this market here is 10 years probably behind everyone else. I would say 5 now, because there's more information at scale for everyone now to obtain. But I'd say it used to be about 10 years behind everyone, and everyone says behind larger metro areas, right?
Right.
And the more rural you get, that just happens. It is what it is. You're more disconnected. Playing on trends is a fucking dangerous game. So I like that y'all are continuing to mix stuff up.
Yeah.
Because looking at another market and trying to emulate what they're doing is cool, but it can't just be a copy game all the time. You got to be unique and different.
Well, yeah, there's so actually I have a Zoom call with when we get out of here, I got a Zoom call with a woman has a real estate team in Jupiter, Florida, like Fort Lauderdale, like north of Miami or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I just had a meeting with a guy from Jupiter. That's interesting. About something else I'll tell you later.
I wonder if they know each other. But
that's why I was going to get in that.
But she really, I just want to talk to them about their social, and the reason why is because, like, obviously they're not competing with anybody here, but they have a videographer they use that's a lot like me. But that's what I explain to people, though, and what I've been trying to explain to a lot of my clients. Like, some of my clients do this, some don't. But if I'm only doing like 4 videos for you a month, you don't just need to post 4 videos, though.
No, you need to fucking do a lot of work.
You need to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because that's especially
build up to that.
Because like they're a real estate team, and that's the thing. Like, it's all girls, and like one girl will like film the other girl, like do like the cell phone camera, get the gimbal, and like literally just speed show a house in like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's like they put it on a reel, they put music behind it, and people watch it because it's an attractive lady showing you a house.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You know what I'm saying? But like that concept in and of itself isn't hard. It's like with a lot of people that I work with, what I'm noticing is like, you got to get out of your shell though, because it's like, it's you at the end of the day.
90% of people hate being on camera.
Yeah.
But I think it's because everyone's been trained to project themselves as someone they're not.
Yeah.
And so they get in a position to where they know it's real and it can't be filtered.
Right.
Shit gets complicated, right? Like, you can't put a filter on a fucking video. You can change the lighting, but your face is not going to change. You can if you got Snapchat or some shit.
Well, you mean filters in terms of contour,
like changing the look of you, who you are.
Yeah, no.
Like, you got to, it's pretty, video is a lot more accountable.
Dude, it's funny, man. Whenever I have clients, they'll be like, "Can you take 15 pounds off?" And I go,
it's probably going to add 15 pounds.
I'm just laughing at record because I'm like, no, I can't. It's video. I can't.
Like, you want to take 15 pounds off? Go to the fucking gym. Like, I'm here to record you. Like, it's what it is. Like, that's what sucks, man. And so that hurts some people. I think that they're like, that because it's pure accountability.
But bro, it's the same. Like, it's the same, and it's mainly in the real estate game. It's mainly girls, but like, it's the same women that say stuff like that. I'll show their video to another group of realtors, women, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, she's so perfect."
Yeah, they'll love it.
It's like
it's just insecurity, man. It's every industry. I mean, it is what it is, man. It's one of those things, man. But what I love about it, here's my advice to everyone, because I've got, dude, I don't know how much content I've helped produce over the fucking past 7 years, but it's been thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces. Dude, just fucking be yourself.
Yeah.
And find your comfort zone, and don't try to be like everybody else. Like the thing that pisses me off the most, especially like real estate's the worst, because nothing against these people, but they're new to, a lot of them are new to it, and they're just trying to figure out how to be better than the other person. Yeah. And what happens is there's a lot of competitiveness there, and they fight each other instead of trying to help each other out. Yeah. It happens so bad in that industry and other industries too.
Well, yeah, I had a woman, one of my clients yesterday. She sent me a video of a video I'd done for another realtor, and she said, "Video looks familiar." And I said, "Girl, they're gonna copy you." And I said, "They're smart to, because she's successful." That's what I'm saying. Like, they're smart to copy you.
Yeah, but just change it.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I more so look at that. Like, if somebody's copying you, I mean, you're probably doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you're literally, and you should be proud of that and continue to hone your craft. Don't continue to do exactly what you're doing. Just build upon it.
Yeah, just be the trendsetter.
Yeah, man, because it's gonna fucking happen. Like, and the thing is, like, yeah, that's what I said. When you go to look at a trend, it's over with already. Like, you try to start following one, by the time you produce something and all that, and you're fucking 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, it's over with. Yeah. It's not. It's like, be the trend, or just don't even worry about trend. Just fucking be yourself. And like, another thing is, these people like just do like work together. Working against each other. Yeah. Like, that's the biggest thing, man.
Some people ain't never gonna like each other.
No, it is what it is. That's fine. People, that's fine, but you don't have to downgrade the other one. Just find your own lane and get in it and roll. Do your thing. But yeah, I've seen it, dude. I've seen it in this industry. It's so funny because Nick, my business partner, when I got into this industry, he's like, "Dude, this industry is full of fucking drama." And I was like, "It's all right, dude. I got it. We'll figure it out." And I was in it for a long time.
There's bureaucracy and drama in every field.
Of course it is. But like, I don't think it's specifically that industry. It's not because it's different from anything else. I think it's just because there's a lack of technology and innovation. It's come along now. Yeah, it's come along now, but there for the long time there was just a huge like gap of nothing changed in that industry. Right. And they introduced like photography, cool, and then video, and then these lead generation systems and shit. It's like, dude. You don't need to depend on any of that if you just get out there and meet people and do good work.
Yeah, you shouldn't be dependent on it, but at the same time, is it going to augment your success? Yeah. Yeah. If you utilize it correctly, but like that's the thing.
Like add that into doing all the other things.
Yeah.
Like, don't just depend on one thing, the magic button to try to make you successful. It's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah. Truth. One of the coolest things I heard a realtor say was, just put like in terms of like just putting in the work. It's like, if individuals aren't basically, I'm paraphrasing, but like basically what this individual said was that if they're not willing to, like a new realtor or any realtor, if they're not willing to like make 10 cold calls a day, like you put a number on it, but I mean like at the same time, like if you're not willing to do the minimum every day.
No, you got to bust your ass.
You're not going to be. It's just easy. Like
that industry, and I'm sitting here saying this, and that about that industry. I'm not shooting it down. I'm just saying the bullshit I've had to deal with. I know, but I do know that the reason why some people are like that is because they bust their ass to get to a point. But what happens is they're used to doing one thing, and they're kind of scared to change because what they've been doing so long has been working. But eventually, it kind of fizzles out because there's older agents that I worked with that just refused to do things, and then they would complain. Like, I don't know how to do that. I'm not doing that. And then eventually they're irrelevant now. It just is what it is. It's in any industry, though. Right. It's any industry. But, yeah, you got to bust your ass. Like, if anyone thinks that industry is easy, it can be easy if you don't want to be successful. Right. Any industry can. Real estate. She's just a single mom. She don't do anything, stay-at-home mom. She's got a real estate license. Yeah, she probably does. She probably doesn't sell any houses. She's probably not successful with it. And there's those ones that are, selling millions and millions of dollars every year.
Yeah, I know a few.
Yeah,
I know a few in particular though that those single mamas be having their babies at home and then they're working.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but the outside looking in will say like.
But there's a lot of them though at the same time, like you're saying too, where that is true, where it's like, well, their husband's out in the oil field and they have the real estate license and they're not really
right.
You know,
they don't have to.
They're not really doing their job.
And like I said, nothing against the industry. I think it's great. It's helped me develop and my networking. I think more than anything, not so much monetarily, but it's. I mean, I think it's a good industry. I think it's cool, and I think you're a part of it now. Is what I'm getting at. And it's kind of fueling your success, and it's something I never would have thought I'd be sitting down talking about for sure. Like, or even something brought up because. I mean, who knows? I mean, but I never thought I'd be doing this either, so who fucking knows, man?
Hey, we're here.
Yeah. Well, look, we're about to wrap this thing up. What's your last words, plugs, anything like that?
Man, if you're rocking with me, I appreciate it. That's all I got to say.
Cool. Surface Wave Media.
Yeah, man.
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those things. Mm-hmm. All right, bro. Appreciate it. Man.